Welcome to the Magic Hours podcast, the podcast where we discuss art, pop culture, and spirituality. I'm your host, Zoe Flowers, and I am so glad you're here. Let's get into the show. Welcome, everyone, to the Magic Hours. I am your favorite Brujas, Zoe Flowers. And today I have one of my favorite poets, Robert Anthony Gibbons, on the show. We
Thank
made
you.
it
I'm so
work.
happy to finally get here.
Libras rising.
Libras. Oh, I love being a Libra, but then sometimes it's like, oh, I'm overthinking.
Okay, so let me tell people who you are. Let me tell people who you are who don't know you. Robert Anthony Gibbons has been published in over 30 literary magazines and in several notable anthologies. Recent publication critics include Killen's Review, that's huge, Tribes, Involuntary Magazine, Peregrine, Expound, Promethean, Turtle Island, Quarterly, Killer Whale, and Sassoon Valley Review. Is that in California, Sassoon?
Yes,
Yeah, I feel like
it's
I've
out of
been there.
California. Yes,
hmm Voices of Lefferts and the Bronx Memoir Project, Volume 2, published by the Bronx Council of Arts. Amazing. Robert's first collection, Close to the Tree, published by Three Rooms Press in 2012. His chapbook, Flight, published by Poets Wear Prada, 2019. You Almost Home, Boy, published by Harlequin Creatures in 2019, with Brooklyn based artist Amy Williams. Some Little Words, published by 440 Galleries in Brooklyn in 2021. His most recent manuscript, Whom the Higher Gods Forgot, will be out in 2022. He has
yes,
received funding from the Puffin Foundation, the United States Artists, and most recently, the New York Foundation of the Arts.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
my esteemed guest, honey,
yes,
let them know.
yes, yes,
Wow, that's huge.
yeah.
So,
I was
Robert,
just finishing the application for the 1619 project, so I want to, work with in their cohort because I read the book 1619 and it's just an amazing book. I don't know if you've read it yet,
mhm.
but if you read it, oh my goodness, it it changes the game. It changes the history game. All the
Wow,
lies we've been told, all the things we've been told. That book is simply an amazing book.
wow. So, Robert, I've read your bio, but
Yes.
why don't you tell us who you are from your perspective? Who are you in the world?
Well, that's a great question, Zoe. Thank you so much. Oftentimes, I am where I am right now on a makeshift bench created for me out here in Brooklyn, every day, trying to offer gratitude to the ancestors, to people who have gone before me, to try to support and love my friends, and try to really be an artist living in 2022. And it's a real complicated thing because it's not always clear. Okay, today, um, so I can read from the 1619 Project, or I can read from Denise Duhamel, or I can read from Robert Galinsky, and then it's some days it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I every day I'm making this about art and being an artist and truly believing that if I visualize it, if I say it every day, that it will come to fruition. And it's not always easy. So, we look at James Baldwin, we look at Langston Hughes, we look at Zora, we look at all Toni Morrison's and all the greats of our lifetime, and we say, you know, it wasn't always the glory for them. It wasn't always the
Mm,
iconography that we see on television, but there's
mm,
something else behind that we have to endure too as an artist.
yeah.
So to answer your question is that I'm still reaching, I'm still dreaming, I'm still believing in the work, I'm still trying to write in other areas, I'm still trying to find my way.
Mm. Whew, you said so much. And so we'll go back to definitely this thing about, yeah, measuring ourselves, right, from other people's middle or other people's
Right,
entire career, right?
right,
Judging our beginnings by their
right.
middle or their quote
Because
unquote
Zoe,
ending.
I was taught to, get a 9 to 5 job and get a pension, get a 401k. All my parents, all my people from Florida, they are teachers or educators, so they've always had this kind of stability. But when I moved to New York, why you moving there? Why you can't stay here and teach? Why you can't stay here and have a house? Why you can no, but that's not what my life called for. It didn't call for Zora. It didn't call for James Weldon Johnson. It didn't call for Augusta Savage. They left Florida and came to New York. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they came, but I know I'm here trying to find out who I am as an artist.
Oh, and that is the artist's journey, isn't it? Going from where you are so often, going somewhere else, trying to find yourself. So when do you think that this yearning began? When did you know that this was what you wanted to do? And when did you start writing?
Well, I had a mother that was a third grade teacher for 38 years. So she always encouraged journaling and writing and coloring and all the beautiful things to have a mother that's an elementary school teacher in your life. I'm really grateful for that. And the idea of she read to us, she exposed me to Langston, she exposed me to Zora, she exposed me to James Baldwin. She did all those things as a kid, but it was like now I'm a mother with 5 kids and I have to teach third graders every day for 38 years. So I want you to love this learning beyond the classroom. So that
Mm,
I think that's the greatest gift she gave me. And that's why my
mm,
brothers and sisters are very, very educated, if I could use that word. They're very stellar.
mm,
Blah, 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 all those kinds of things. But we also have this great commitment to education outside of the classroom. And so that's why I'm
mm,
so grateful for the experiences that I've had at being a teacher. I taught for many years in the traditional classroom, but I was the teacher in the school. Okay, kids, we're going to go to Colonial Williamsburg. We're going to go to Mount Vernon. We're going to go to Charlottesville. We're going to go to the capital of the United States because I feel like learning can take place anywhere. I've taught on the U.S. Constitution. I've taught in parks. I've taught in residencies.
wow.
I've taught on those things. So I know that kids get a greater respect when, oh, that was the teacher right there that took us to Mount Vernon for the first time to see George Washington's house. So it's
Mhm.
those kinds of experiences that I really appreciate. And I think it's an extension from my mother always exposing us to the art gallery, always exposing us to these kinds of things. I think that's where it comes from.
You're so, so, so right. I mean, when I think about how I grew up, so I grew up with all the Encyclopedia Britannicas, honey, because
Yes,
that I'm of that age where they would
yes,
come to your door, and so we had
exactly.
all like
Me too.
every volume
Me
of
too.
that.
Me too.
And my mother was a reader, and
Yes,
so she had books,
yes.
downstairs. And then once I got a certain age, I snuck downstairs and started
Hmm.
reading all of her inappropriate books. But
Yeah.
then also, when I was like 21, I went on her bookshelf and she had Message to a Black Man. And that changed my whole trajectory of my
Wow.
life when I read that book, even though now I have some different ideas. But at that age, that was what I needed. So it's
Right.
so critical, right? And I grew up as
Yes.
a reader too. So it's so critical to have that reading
Yes.
piece.
Yes.
It's such an influence. I'm curious about what you think about the history and how history impacts your art. And I'm asking you this because you made me think about, and I don't know if you went to this poetry gathering. It was many years ago. It was in DC. It had to be, I was living in Atlanta, so it had to be in the 90s.
Hmm.
And it was this amazing gathering. Mahabuti was there, Sonia Sanchez was there.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, all the people, Saul
Hmm. Right.
Williams, all the folks. And I
Right.
remember we were in this panel and this young person stood up. Tupac was still alive. So
Right.
that's how long ago it
Wow.
was.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he said, I don't read, like, basically the people that were on the stage. I don't read history. I listen to Tupac,
Right.
and he influenced his art. So
Right.
for me as an artist, I was like, ooh, like
Right.
no, for
Right.
me, because I
Right.
believe in like
Yeah.
thoroughly like
Right.
understanding the craft and blah 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 blah.
Yes.
So I'd love to know your view on, since you were a formal teacher and are a
Right.
still a teacher,
Right.
what do you think about that whole concept? Which I think is a very American concept, by the way. Like we
I
don't
think it
care
is a
about
very
history.
American concept, but I love that question because that's a great question. I battle, Zoe, with distraction. And I battle with distraction basically because I want to fondle my phone. I want to check Instagram. I want to check Facebook. But before all of these mediums came along, we could sit down and read a big 800-page book,
Facts.
African American literary theory, because certainly Tupac is legendary and
Yes.
certainly he has a word to say. He has a word to say, but we come from a sea of sayers and we have come from a world, a whole astronomy of truth tellers. So I have to know in my one body,
Yeah.
if I'm coming to a conclusion about the way I'm interpreting my journey, because I know I'm called for a specific journey, I have to know Amiri Baraka. I have to know Tupac, but I also have to know Eugene Genovese. I have to know Mary Cad Carey. I have to know Ida B. Wells. I have to know these things because that's the life that I want to live. And so oftentimes, we don't get Gwendolyn Brooks online. We don't You have to read, you have to access her. You don't get the deep mysteries of line. There's a lot of work out there. Yeah. But there's something special about this. The historical lens is what it is. You still have to search for it. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much remain to be discovered. And it's in the book, not in cyberspace, but in the book.
Yes, exactly. And if we know about Tupac too, we know he was a reader. I mean,
He
he's a
was a
Gemini,
reader.
so you already know
He
he's
was a reader.
intellectual.
He
Like
was an
that's one of the
intellectual.
things we
Yes.
loved about him was he was an intellectual.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like he knew his history also.
Yes. Yes. About him too. That's what I love too. He had that grittiness about him, but he also could speak in any audience and speak to any audience. He
Facts.
could defend and advocate for himself. Tupac
Absolutely.
is one of my
Absolutely.
favorite. He's one of my muses. I mean, like really.
Yeah. One of the greats. He's in my top five for sure.
Yes.
So, books. This is going to be, maybe this won't be challenging for you,
Right.
but wondering about the book that changed the way you see the world, the book that changed your life.
Yeah. That is a great question, and it's a very complicated question. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that when we write and when we read, I want to discover the truth
Mm,
and say I read the biography of Ralph Ellison. I read the biography of Richard Wright, but I
mm,
don't think I read Langston. Then I read them in a tradition. I read Langston, then I read Richard, then I read Ralph, then I read James. James was the youngest of the four group, and it's like a tradition. And I read Langston. He was I was exposed to him when I was a kid. I read Richard. My mom didn't. I didn't know too much about Richard until I moved to New York. I read Ralph, but then I read James Baldwin. And James Baldwin, out of the group of them, was the ultimate truth teller. And I read several
mm,
of his books, but I think Giovanni's Room was one of the ones that really moved me to tell the truth about who I am. Don't lie,
mm,
sit up and try to create these facades and these images about who you are struggling with, but tell the truth. And Baldwin had that same journey. I have that same journey. Decided that he was going to tell the truth and not lie about it. That when I read Giovanni's Room, I said, okay, so I'm not a girl that's in conflict or in fear or afraid to divulge what's going on in my world. So I think that will be out of many books, but I think that book will be in the top three. Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin.
And James Baldwin brings in the power and the mythology and the influence of the Black church,
Yes,
as do you in your
yes,
work.
yes.
So I would love for you to read something, a
Okay,
piece of
okay.
your work, if you
All
will.
right. Thank you. I've
All
been
right,
working on this
folks.
piece. It's called The Camera. And I
Mm,
just read The Camera.
okay. Okay.
The Camera. No one believes until Charles Morris photographed those dog attacks of innocent folks. No one believes until the bodies were found beneath the Mississippi. Goddamn, no one believes. The people are left out and sharecroppers black. No one believed that they soaked the blood of MLK by sponge and placed him in mason jars. No one believed until they left Bessie dead on an open road and baptized Emmett in a cold case. They drug James Bird until his flesh fell from his bones that night. No one believed, but it's the camera. It is the camera that condemns. Its lens hold grudges. It pulls back a few years, a few chapters, make laughter out of pain after the frame of plain metaphor, and he did it again, but the camera brings the evidence. The moment he the carcinogenic invades, the racist threat on parade. He keeps up the numbers, his wiry frame, behind spectacles, the reckless of a southern city, the ruins of Charleston, the Mason Dixon beneath. The breath keeps people segregated, but it's the camera. The camera protects the fears when the city hangs in effigy. The camera takes a ride with Sherman with his march to the sea. It colors its frame of blue and gray. It chants bloody murder and insurrection. No one believes, but the camera has subtext, subterfuge, the cry of Othello. The camera exits the stage with all the rage of a life and regret of strife not fulfilled. Yet it's the camera that comes back with a vengeance.
Robert Anthony Gibbons, everybody.
Thank you.
So, the camera.
Yes.
Tell me
I
your
did that
influence.
specifically because we live in such a photographic world and
Yeah.
everything is and it fights with my intellect reading time and it fights with my ADD and it fights with my distractions. So there's a camera on Instagram, that's a camera on Facebook, that's a camera everywhere, all around in the trees, on the street lights, on the corners, that's the camera. It's everywhere. It has invaded us.
Well, Orson Welles told us it was going to do that.
Yes, he did.
I'm also thinking about Octavia Butler right now as
Yes.
you're talking about that. Um, wow, I love that. Oh, I got to hear that again. I'm going to go back and play the recording for that because that is oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you said you're still working on it.
Yeah, I'm still working on it because it's more to it. It's a very long poem, and so I'm going through and editing it, and because I wanted to personify the camera for this present moment that we're living in.
Listen, that's a piece that I would want to write a response to.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
I'm like, oh my God, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
let's talk about your journey as a poet in New York City,
Yes,
even though you're worldwide, but New York is where you reside. So
yeah.
what's that like?
Now,
Hmm.
It's tough right now. Um, I get conflict with the celebrity poets and them, but they exist among us. And again, I'm going back to the history and I'm allowing, like the 1619 Project, like Langston, like Zora, like Richard. I want to be a poet citizen. I want to be a poet ambassador, but I also want to use the words that I've been gifted for the justice, for the equality, for the environmental justice. So there's a thing about, oh, you want the awards, you have to write a certain way. No, I love the brown pelican, and that's my whole next project, So I want to do a whole multimedia poetic campaign for the brown pelican. Brown pelican being the state bird of Louisiana, also being the country bird of St. Kitts. And I have a connection with the brown pelican because it's brown. Brown. And it's a pelican. And we
What?
suffer with its environmental and climatological things and all of the justice issues that's out there. It's connected with Hurricane Katrina. It's connected to Louisiana. It's connected with people of color. It's connected with history. So, but then
Mm,
it's that whole thing of no, if you sit here and you write about a certain thing, then you can get this grant. You can get published here. You can get published there. If you write in a certain level. But certain people that
mm.
I read, they're writing for the truth. They're writing in their voice. They're writing from writing from their mama and their dad and their background, their Georgia. They're writing. Regardless of it.
Yeah.
Does that matter in the big scheme of things that I have 100 awards or 100 residencies or 100? Does it matter to my torture that's going on in my body?
Mm,
So I'll leave it right there. I'll stop right there.
mm, mm. Or you could say more.
But New York is so full of that,
Yeah.
celebrity. I want to post this. I want to post my awards. I want to post my publishing credits. I want you to know that I got this, got that. But then may the work I done speak for me. May the not the award,
The
but may
work
the work.
with a hard K. The work.
Woo,
Oh, I struggle with that.
me
Oh, I
too.
struggle with that.
Me
I
too.
struggle. I struggle because I'll be like, oh, I know I need to post on YouTube today. I
I
know I need to do a
know.
video. I know I need to do you know? And then I'm like, but and also like I'm doing stuff in like the real world. Not saying that that stuff doesn't matter, but I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm actually doing things in 3D.
it matters. It matters.
But it's so challenging
It
because
is. It is. It
the
is so.
camera,
Yeah.
because the camera would have us feel like, oh, we're not really doing anything. Oh, da da da. Oh,
And then I go too with brown and black bodies that
mm,
are so over online. Is that the way? Is that what Harriet Tubman coming out of Maryland, taking 900 people to freedom, following the North Star? Is that the promise? That I got to be naked and show my body and I'm a celebrity because I'm showing my body and my body parts. Is that it, ancestors? Please let me know if this is the way that I can be free by showing my body and making money off of it. No, Robert, I am making money off showing my body. Can't judge that. But for
that's
my
right.
journey, I have to choose how I'm going to represent myself in the world. And I just have a problem with it. I just have a
It's
problem with
uh it's complex, right? Because it's like on the one hand, I don't want to be anti respect.
it.
I don't want to be
Yeah,
like
no,
miss respectability politics, right? I want to be right. And also, I'm like, but ain't that what they did to us on the auction block? Like,
The history always
It's
leads us.
hard
The history always
because
leads us.
it's like because I do work because I do prevention work, and a part of prevention work is like showing how we're socialized. And I'm also a sociology major, right? So it's like I'm always into this thing about, yeah, we have free will in a spiritual sense. And also, we are programmed. We are programmed and we are programmable.
Yes,
And so it's like, was it your choice? Was it really your choice? You think it's your choice. Or is it programming? I don't know. People are going to get mad. Trigger warning. People are going to get mad at me. But I mean, I don't know,
I don't.
because I'm looking forward to spring so I can be half naked. Like I have a half shirt on now, and I was looking at my stomach and I was like, ooh, honey, and I'm going to be going outside with my shoulder pop out and my stomach out. Like I can't wait. And also, is that my choice?
That is your choice. That is your
Or
choice.
is it? Or is it the programming that
Okay.
says it's summertime?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I just, I just, I just want a different type of representation for my
Right.
life and my work attached to my work. I don't want to be the dude with the tank top on and the booty shorts, showing everything to get 1 million likes. If you don't like the way I represent myself in the work, then there are a specific group of people out there, and is that just being protective of my work, or is that because I'm anti-celebrity and I'm anti-fame and anti all those kinds of things? But no,
Yeah.
I just believe that the truth is much bigger than the falseness that's so rampant
Facts.
around these
Facts.
cameras right now.
These cameras. And it makes me think about how we dogged, God rest her soul, goddess rest her soul, Dolores Tucker.
Yes. Oh
Speaking of
my goodness.
Tupac,
Yes.
it always
Yes.
comes back to hip hop.
Yes. Yes.
But the way we dogged her, at least
Yes.
me and my peers, when we were in our
Yep.
20s, when they were talking
Yes.
about the misogyny, and
Exactly.
we were like, this is our music, and ba 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 ba. And it's like, yeah, they were kind of right because it's powerful. The
Yes.
camera is powerful.
It
And
remembers. It
and
remembers.
it directs,
It
and
direct.
this is what you need to turn your attention to. This is what you And so for me now, I'm like in a place of like, I think and I always want to see a balance, right?
Right.
It's like either total cover up or naked. For me, it's like, can we get a little of both? We need more diversity
Right.
in representation. And I think
Exactly.
that's the issue, so
Right.
that people can really make informed choices. Because you can't make an informed choice if you're force fed one thing all the time. You got to go search and scrape and like do all these things to find an alternative picture.
I want to ask you one question now that you bring this up, and
Okay.
you know, I said, okay, so I want to date again. That's what I told somebody. I told a close friend. I said I want to date again. I feel like
Me
I can
too.
date now. And,
Yes.
and she said to me, she said, go to the app. Do you believe that you have to go to an app to find someone, or do you believe that love can organically happen, like in the park, on the street, walking up the street corner, in the grocery store, in a shopping line? What do you believe about that, about organic love?
I believe it's possible, and it's what I prefer. It's what I prefer. Like, I've done the app thing. I haven't done it successfully. I've done it over the years, like off and on, off and on. It's not successful for me, even though I'm a writer, even though I'm like good with the words or whatever. But like sitting there and like, I just don't want to do all that. Like, I want to do all of that. I want to like talk on the phone so I could hear the inflection in your voice. I want to smell you. I want
Yeah,
to, like for
I
me,
agree. I agree with you
now
100.
I'm putting this out in the universe.
Me too. I'm
My
putting it up too.
perfect Okay, you put out your perfect scenario and
Yeah.
I'll put out mine. Okay, my perfect scenario is to be zip, zip, zipping through the airport. Zip, zip, zip. And I got my little suitcase. Zip, zip, zip. And I just meet somebody at the airport or
Yeah.
sit next to somebody on the plane and we just
Yes.
make a connection. Okay.
Yes.
That's like amazing. That's what I would prefer.
Right.
Now, I know people who've gotten married off of apps, like especially when the apps first started getting popular. I was living in Atlanta and I would, so Mary, Linda, like three or four of my coworkers all got married from that one that was really popular, that first one that was really
Uh-huh.
popular. Now here's the thing, they was all white. They were all white women. I'm
Yeah.
not saying whether it's better for others or not, but I'm
Right.
just saying, like, whenever I look at people who have been successful, now there's also
Right.
been horror stories, obviously.
Right.
At that time it was them. So yeah, so but maybe I will go back on the apps.
Yeah.
It's not my preference, but then energetically, if it's not our preference, is it going to work?
That's my thing too, because I'm so totally against that type of hookup. It's
Why now?
just
Why are
like
you against it? Why are you against it?
I just I just rather it happen naturally. I mean, I had some experience and the app was like the person was not how they looked, or then we didn't vibe, and it's just like, okay, I want to go back to the old fashioned way, if there's such a thing as an old fashioned way. A lot of people
I
don't know that
agree.
way. A lot of people don't believe in that way. Immediately go to the app. Go to the app is the first thing they say. Go to the app.
Because it's a numbers game. So it's like the app, you increase your chances. So maybe it's both. Maybe it's the app and being out in the world.
I try to be
What
out here as much as possible.
what you be doing? What you be doing? So I
I
gave you my
go
perfect scenario.
park.
What's yours? Wait, what's your
Mine
perfect
is
scenario?
my perfect scenario would be, in the library, or in the park, or hanging out at the gym, or some of the things that I like to do, or shopping in the grocery store or something like that, or looking for a beautiful card, a card shop, or old vintage store, those kinds of things. It's
Yes.
very, very specific. I have very, very specific taste, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to be everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
going to
our
go to a
problem. That's
club. I'm not going to go to a club. I'm not going to go to those kinds of things. Those things, those are beyond me now. So I have to be in a very specific situation, a literary event, a wine
yes.
tasting, an art museum,
Yes.
those kinds of things, to find that particular type of person that has those particular type of tastes, you know?
Okay. Yeah, you're
And they
right.
are
You're
out
right.
there. They are out there. I believe that's my intention to the universe, that they are out there and we will find each other eventually, you
I
know?
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what? So maybe my airplane is too limiting. So I'm gonna do a top 5 for dating.
Yes.
Airport,
Wow.
bookstore. Now let me tell you.
Wow.
Oh, let me tell you about the guy I met at the bookstore. Bookstore, record store, like a record shop.
Wow. Record store. Yes. Yes. There are not many of those around here anymore. Wow.
Record store,
Right.
record store, bookstore,
Yes.
airport.
Yes.
I like the wine tasting
Yes. 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 Yes.
and a concert,
A concert. That would be so amazing.
a
Yeah.
musical event.
Because
Because
that
them are the
that
things we
means that y'all
like.
have, that's right. That's the connection. That's an immediate connection. Yeah.
You hear us? You hear us, universe, right? You
Yes.
hear,
Yeah.
you hear what we're saying, and it's the full moon. It's
Woo!
gonna
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
It's the full moon
Yes.
in
I know.
Virgo, and Virgo
Yes.
is about habits and the things you do every day.
Right. Now, does this mean that, and you're the expert in this. So
Mm.
does this mean that I can give up habits? I
No,
can give up habits at this, or
no.
okay.
Virgo is the opposite of giving up habits. Are you
Oh,
kidding?
oh,
No.
oh.
Virgo is let's think about some of our most famous Virgos. Beyonce and Michael Jackson.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
What are they known for? Work ethic. Like that's what Virgo is about. Virgo is about perfecting. Oh, and it's so interesting that I started going back to the gym this week because Virgo is about the body. Virgo is like a
Yes.
constant perfecting, shaping, and things like that. Again, the things you do every day, your habits, efficiency. So, this would be a good time to create new habits around
Wow,
efficiency and
wow,
things
wow.
like that.
I wanted to tell you this about me, but I'm a doll collector. I have like over 50 dolls in my collection, and these are dolls that I've collected from around the world. Actually, I bought a few dolls when I was in Europe, and these are African dolls, dolls of color. I only purchase dolls of color, and
What?
I've gone to auction sales, house sales, and so I'm thinking about creating just starting with a Facebook page and doing a calling it a doll archive. I don't know how many men or women out there that collect dolls, but I'm very interested in seeing what it's been on my mind for a very long time to create this whole website, I guess, around dolls and doll collecting, and it could move into other areas of collecting because everything is so cyberspace, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
Even me writing a beautiful card to you, like I like to do on your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
People send me, they know I like cards, so they'll send me an e-card, or and it has all the sounds and looks of a card, but it's not the physical. What do you think about that? What do you think about a collectible channel one day?
I think I think not one day. I think today. And how do you feel about like oracle cards and tarot cards and things like that?
I
Are you
love
real?
them. I am
Oh, you do?
so
Okay, so oh good. Okay, so I
I
want to pull a
love
card
them.
on it. I want to pull a card on this idea you have.
Please, 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 please.
Okay, so we are actually going to use the shamanic medicine cards.
The shamanic, is that from the word shaman?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Shamanic, I love that word.
Whoa, that card flew out. I don't know if you saw that, but it says
No.
expression. It says expression for that idea that you have. And when you, oh my gosh, I didn't even, there's a person. Look at that. Look, there's a
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
So
a
technically, we're still in Pisces. We're not in Aries season yet until what, Sunday? And so it's
uh-huh.
still Pisces season. So we're in a water season right now. So this is like perfect. So that means the time is now because we are in Pisces and the water sign came up. And so the time is now. And it says expression. So it's like obvious. We're also going to pull from the Sacred Cycles deck. So this is a deck that talks about the different cycles of women identified people's lives, but I
Yes.
still
Thank
think
you.
this, yeah. So this is great. And so so this will be a great way for you to express yourself. And water in tarot represents emotions,
Wow.
okay? So this
Yes.
would be a good way to express yourself, but also, oh, thank you, Spirit. Tap into other people's emotions. So it's like whatever you write about it or whatever you like in your marketing and things like that, you want to tap into the emotional connection that
Yeah.
people have with these dolls. And you want to
Wow.
invite them to express themselves.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yes.
So
Yes.
it should be very heart centered because in this digital world, the reason why people are going back to cameras and like records and things like that is because we want to go back to that tactile,
Yes.
that touch,
Yes.
that human connection. And so
Yes.
that is what your doll page,
Right.
particularly, you can branch it off into like the real world at some point, like doing like a participating in like doll shows and things like that, which I'm sure you
Yeah.
have,
Right.
right? To get that human connection. So
Right.
let's see what the sacred cycles has to do with this. Spirit, what is this? What is this expression beyond what I said? What does this have to do with the cycle of life that Robert's in?
Yeah.
Return to source.
Wow.
And so we have number 30. So in numerology, that we would just reduce that down to a three because we don't do double digits. So three plus zero is three. And so we think about what? The Holy Trinity. Return to the source. Three is a magic number. So it's like this expression is a connection to the divine, particularly if the dolls that you're
Wow, that's
collecting
great. I
are
feel
African, right? The dolls that you're collecting are very specific. Africa,
yes,
the
yes,
source of civilization.
yes, yes.
So this is important. It's important
That's
that you do this.
thank you, because I bought this book from the Met maybe like 10 years ago called Black Dolls, and then I saw some of the dolls that I had because I said I saw some of the dolls that I had because I have the original. I have an original Josephine Baker doll, and so I have Josephine Baker. But then I have a doll. One of my oldest dolls is made out of all like spools of thread, the spools. But someone put together this doll with spools, and I don't know where I collected it from, but I have that doll. Then I have Obama dolls and Urkel. I have a lot of male dolls too. I had one of the original. My mom bought me when I was a kid the original GI Joe, the Black Ken doll. I have it. I still have it.
Oh, I have that black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. This is a good idea. Yeah. Phew. Yep. 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 This is a good idea. We have the sun here,
Wow.
which is amazing, and then of course that's the scarab from
Yes.
Egypt. So
Yes.
again, going back to civilization. Now we do have the seven of wands. So the seven of wands. So wands is all about. I want to see what she has to say about the seven of wands, but wands is all about action. It's all about the fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
Uh
So
huh.
now the seven of wands can be about boundaries being broken. I wish I had the traditional seven of wands, but I don't think it's on this side. I think it's on the other side, so you can see what it looks like in the traditional tarot. But so yeah, you because one of the things that I was concerned about was like exposing the dolls and like leaving yourself open to certain things when people see
Yeah.
this collection. So you
Yeah.
want to make sure that you protect your boundaries and things like that. So you do want to make sure that you
Yeah.
protect them and
Right.
protect yourself and things like that. But other than that, everything else is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's
And I
that's
think I think that one of the greatest challenges is now after all of these things that we've experienced after 2 years of how am I going to monetize myself? How am I going to live as an artist in this world? And certainly there are lots of things out there to attract us, but really figuring out, is this the journey? Okay, is this the journey for me, ancestors? Is this the journey for me, universe? Is this where I need to go? Are these the people I need? This where my work needs to be published? And I've had an explosion of publishing lately. I just heard from African Voices today.
oh
So
wow.
it's been an explosion of publishers reaching out to me, but
Yeah.
it's just like, is this where I need to be? It's a questioning every day. Is this where I want my work to land? Are these is this where it deserves to be? Because I've worked very hard at what I do. You
Well,
know?
it's so interesting that you said ancestors because I just so happen to have an ancestor spirit deck in my hand.
Wow, wow,
In
that's
my
great.
hand. In my hand. So let's just get an ancestor message for you,
Please, please.
particularly
I
around,
always call on them.
yeah, particularly around your work. So, Spirit, what do you have? Okay, we need to
Wow, I saw that. I saw that.
just make sure we clear first. So, people who have on headphones, I'm about to hit a tuning fork, so you might want to turn down your headphones for a moment. We only want messages from our most enlightened ancestors and spirit guides. We only want to hear from our most enlightened ancestors and spirit guides. So the question is, Robert has a question about his work. What is your whoa?
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
All right. No, no, yes. All right. You talked a lot about distractions, and here it is. So we have re energize your life. And this says clear, positive space and harmony. And then we
Mm,
have clear your mind, be present, focus, embrace. So I'm going to read what the book says,
okay.
but right off of the bat, it's like, yeah, we already know this, right? We are Libras, we're air signs. So we
Right.
have to have a certain environment in
Yeah.
order for us to be at our full potential because we are very sensual beings. We are very tactile. We want the right environment, the right smells. We like, we want things to be clean, pristine, above board. Like we have to have very specific things in
Yes.
order for us to feel balanced. Now we
Yes.
can exist in different situations because we're adaptable, but in order for us to be at our peak,
Yes.
it is best for us to have a very aesthetically pleasing, peaceful environment.
Wow. Wow. That's so great. That speaks to me because I got up this morning in a frantic cleaning up I was like, I
Yeah.
haven't cleaned like this in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this energy coming from? I
Yeah.
even questioning it, but it
Yeah.
happened this morning. I'm not making this up because of what you just said. It
Yeah.
happened this morning.
Well, because I'll tell you this, because we are going into Aries season, and
Okay.
Aries is our polar opposite. So it
Yes,
sits right
right.
across from us, right? On the
Yes.
on the zodiac, right? So Aries is fire. So you're starting to feel that Aries energy of movement because Aries is about initiating. Aries is so Aries season is actually going to be very important for us. This Aries season is going to be very important. It's like a turning point in a way for us if we harness the energy, which it sounds like you're already connecting into it
Yes.
and moving forward, right? And
Yes.
the other thing
Yes.
about air signs in general is like we're very good at starting things, but like we can also like get bored, especially with me
Yes.
with the Gemini moon. It's like,
Yes.
oh, let me go do this. So being consistent is very, 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 very important. So I'm gonna
Gotcha.
read from the book.
Okay.
But yeah, so keeping yourself spiritually and energetically and keeping your space clean and clear
Wow. That
is
speaks to me.
very important.
That speaks to
It's
me.
it's connected to your sense of well-being, even smells. I don't know if you're into aromatherapy, but starting to like work with the essential oils and things like that
Right.
will be very, very good for you, particularly essential oils. So when I did a speaking thing, and this young woman that was helping me, she actually had bought me like this packet, and it had this essential oil that you rub on your temples for focus. I might have it. I might have it somewhere. And it was very good. So because we have clear your mind here and you talked about distractions, so
Oh yeah.
let's see what this says. So what I love about this deck is it's also connected to a very specific groups of people. This deck is like unlike any other deck that I have, and I just got this like last week. It's amazing. So it says the Paraha are an isolated tribe of hunter gatherers who have lived in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil for thousands of years. The Paraha mastered the art of survival in the jungle. They are intimate with the local plants and know how to use them for medicinal purposes. The Paraha also understand animal behavior. They know how to hunt or avoid animals to survive. They use no weapons or tools and live off animals, nuts, and fruits they hunt or gather in the jungle. They live in simple huts and make palm leaf bags, bows, and arrows. The Paraha rarely sleep through the night. They usually sleep a maximum of 2 hours. Oh my God, at a time and take 15-minute naps during the day. The
Mm.
Paraha believe in living in the here and now. Their awareness centers on the experience of the moment. They keep no historical records, do not dwell on what happened in the past, nor are they worried about the future. They focus on the present and believe in what they can physically see with their own eyes. To the Paraha, something is real only if they or someone they know witnessed it. Wow. Well, okay.
That's power. That's power right there. That's power. Because we always taught to look forward, move forward, 20 years down the road, 15 years down the road. We're never taught to be in the present.
And it
Be in the
also
present.
makes me think about your poem, the camera. Sometimes, they say the camera doesn't lie, but sometimes the people taking the pictures do, and the subjects do. And so we are presented these images in social media and things like that that are not truthful too. And then we compare ourselves like we were talking about before.
Exactly.
This is super interesting. So it says
Yeah.
this card reminds you to slow down and take stock of what is important to you right now. So the question about am I doing the right thing, this and that, the instruction here is to slow down and take stock of what is important to you right now. You may have lost your connection to who and what matters most. If there is too much confusion around you, you may lose focus. Try not to get distracted. And we've been talking about distraction this whole time from your values. Be clear about who you are and your immediate needs. Avoid putting your happiness and well being off for another day. So that goes to what you were saying about the
Wow.
dolls. When you were like, oh,
Wow.
should I do the dolls at some point? I'm like, no, do them today. So
Wow.
this says it also, so the divinatory meaning says when you are focused, your energy has direction and purpose. Engaging in the moment helps you avoid distraction so you can give your attention to the task or people at hand. Being clear about what is important to you encourages the universe to flow with your intentions and goals. Appreciate the Paraha's philosophy of living in the here and now. Don't keep looking to the past. Try not to worry about the future and enjoy what you are experiencing in the present. Mm.
Yes.
And so then with
Yes.
this re-energizing, they would be like, okay, so clearing your mind and both of these things really about clearing your mind and focusing. And so this is the act of clearing away distractions and then this re-energizing, then going like for putting your ideas into the world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's like first you clear your mind, then you can put the energy in that direction. But first you have
Yes.
to slow down and appreciate where you are in the present moment. Yeah. So instead of worrying about is this where I want my art to go and this and that, just do it. What's important to you right now. I love that.
That's an amazing moment. Me too. I love that. I love that. And so today I did the same thing I usually do. I wrote my gratitude list. I read from some of my favorite writers that I'm reading right now, and you know, and I'm here with you, and
Yeah.
it's a spectacular moment. So
Yeah. Very, very blessed moment.
yeah,
So one of the things I also want to ask you is about your legacy. What
yeah,
what do you want your legacy to be?
great question. I several things. I've been just recently granted a, a Brooklyn Arts Council grant to teach poetry in the nursing homes here in Brooklyn.
Mm,
And so I titled that particular proposal Legacy
mm,
because I want, I have nephews, I have nieces, I have relatives that say, wow, Robert, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what you've written and what you've done inspires me. So hopefully the writings that I have done will become immortal, that kids 2 generations from now will read those in school books. And so
yes.
again, presenting and representing myself in a certain kind of way so that it can go beyond me is definitely a foundational purpose and intention of mine. It always has been. That's why I look to the ancestors. That's why I look to writers. That's why I look to my people, and that's why I'm so strong an advocate about the education of our children for the future.
I love it. I love it. And what do you recommend that like young poets, young artists, the folks coming behind you, what do you recommend that they do with their talent or for their talent? What
That's a
what do you
great.
what do you tell these young folks who
Oh,
want to come up, to the big city to, what
yeah.
what what do you want them to know?
It's so interesting that you say that because I have a my sister who also is a Libra. She was born October 1st. She has Ethan, and Ethan is such a how can I say? He's 9 years old. He's such a fashionista right now,
Yeah.
and so his whole thing, Uncle Robert, I want to come to New York. I want to model for Gap. I want to I want to be a baby. This I want to be a kid model
Yes.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I hear, and I tell him one day you can come to New York. You have an uncle here in New York. One day you can come to New York. But what I want you to do is focus, be respectful of your parents, study, really expose yourself to because he plays the violin and he plays the piano and he likes football. He likes so really focus and use these years as like nurturing years, growing years. And then,
Hmm.
it comes up, it
Hmm.
comes up.
Hmm.
Because I believe I could be a writer in Florida in the Everglades. I always like I have to come to New York and write. I didn't think that when I lived in Florida. I didn't appreciate the moments that I was there that I could go to the cypress swamp and write, or
Mm.
I can go to Miami Beach and write, or I can go to Coral Gables and write. I felt like I had to come to New York. Now that
Mm.
I've experienced it, I can go anywhere I want to go, Zoe, and be who I want to be. And that's the thing. That's the misconception that I'm trying to withdraw from my life that wherever I end up, whatever situation, if I end up in a little hamlet in Vermont, that I can start a community group of elders and we can write
Yes.
together. You
Oh
see what
my
I'm
God.
saying?
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So, how can people find you? How can people find your work?
Anthony Robert Gibbons on Instagram, Anthony Robert Gibbons on Facebook. They can also Google me under Robert Gibbons. I have lots of videos out in the world. They can contact if they want to get a copy of my book. They can contact you, and you'll make sure I get the information. There are many many ways. Zoe, thank you so much for having
Thank
me
you
today.
so much. I want to ask you to close with another
Okay,
poem.
with the poem. Okay,
Yeah.
can I read one from your book? One of my favorites. Please,
Oh
please
my
let me read one
God.
from your book. Please, can I? May I?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I wanted to hear one of yours, but go ahead.
I love this poem because it speaks to so many levels. It's the first poem in your book, you know, in praise of the witch, ladies and gentlemen, by
Hey,
Zoe. I love
hey,
that. I love that. In
hey.
praise of the witch. Um, we black girls. We black girls, three based on a true story, a soft place to land, a place without critique, a place with soft eyes and no work, no landmines, emotional, a soft place to lay woolly heads, cotton soft, a place with arms strong enough to hold the weight of experience. Where is this place? We die looking for this place. We die looking for it in angry men's beds and in the arms of mothers who wasn't loved proper. We die looking for it in hateful sister circles. We die trying to be seen and heard and believed. We die trying to rebirth stillborn adults using our good air on the undeserving. We stay dying, trying to be reborn in orgasms a million indignities from womb to tomb. We get off hospital gurneys if we make it and come home not to selves but to dishes unclean like we a million indignities. We come home if we make it to grocery that need cooking and trash to be taken out like we come home to ourselves less and less dodging think pieces about how we should best react to our traumas. Did she say trauma? Black girl trauma. Is she still talking out that? Best to not speak about your trauma, sisters. Best to keep your fucking mouth shut. Stay pleasant and feminine. What about the people in Guatemala, sister? You don't have it so bad over here. Best to keep your mouth shut and suffer silently. You're more attractive that way. Your rage is not feminine or needed unless you're fighting for not you, then your mouth should be open wide, outstretched, receiving modes on the front lines. Then you can speak, sister. Then we can hear you, sister. Your voice is necessary, sister. What about them poor folks in Africa? What about those brothers, sister? Your worries, no. Stay quiet about that, sister. Dying in childbirth, no, 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 sister. Women dying over the world, sister. You say that treated you like shit from dusk to dawn? No, sister. It's about prison reform right now. See those people out there really suffering? You're just being selfish again, sister. It's not about your life. You got to get out and get people to vote, sister. That's the vibe right now, sister. Lives is on the line right now, sister. We'll get to yours later. We promise, sister.
Sincerely, the world.
Sincerely, the world. Zoe, I,
I love the way you read that. I was like, yes.
I got your back, sister. I got your back. I
I
got your
love
back.
that. Thank you so
So I'm a
much.
host of a monthly reading series called Open Expression, once a month in Harlem Online, and I'm going to invite you next month so that I can have
Okay.
you feature in the next few months.
I love that. I love that.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
love open
Yes.
expressions.
Yes.
Started by our sister Cece.
That's right. That's
I
right.
didn't
That's
know
right.
you took that over.
Yeah, it's taken over by Heather Archibald. She's in St. Kitts.
Oh,
So she,
Heather.
yeah, Heather is the curator, and she asked me to host. So I hosted it last month for Women's History Month, where I read your beautiful poem, and they loved it. And so I told them that I was going to invite you when I did this interview and see would you come and feature for us in the next few months.
Of course. I'd love to. Thank you so
Because
much.
everybody, I read the book and praise for the book.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for being on the
We're
show.
Libras. We're connected. You know, we've always been connected. So thank
Libra's
you so much.
rising. Libra's rising. Libra's rising 2022. All right, y'all.
All
You
right.
have just heard Robert Gibbons, poet,
Thank you for
human, teacher extraordinaire.
thank you
I'm
for
Zoe
inspiring me,
Flowers.
Zoe, every day. I appreciate you. All right.
You are
Take
so
care.
welcome. Thank
Right.
you. Peace. And thank you all for hanging out with Robert and I on the magic hours. And I will talk with y'all soon. Bye.